Europe is literally running out of workers. It is a ticking demographic time bomb. So what's the big political solution? Force everyone to work longer. Change the rules, save the economy, right? Well, here is the massive secret those official spreadsheets totally ignore. Humans are not robots. When you change the rules, people fight back. Welcome to our explainer. Today, we are exposing the hidden backlash against pension reform.
So ask yourself this. If politicians force you to retire 5 years later, does society actually get more work out of you? The math seems super obvious, doesn't it? Bump the retirement age from 62 to 67 and boom, society gets 5 extra years of labor. It looks absolutely perfect on paper, but human nature is about to slap that theory right in the face.
Because guess what? The standard math is totally wrong. We might actually get less work out of you. This is the ultimate showdown between the rule makers and the rule breakers. You see, you control your own effort, and a fascinating new study completely destroys this whole political illusion. The data tells a wildly different story. To understand why, we have to look at the baseline crisis. 20%. That number is honestly terrifying. Without major reforms, the workforce in places like France, Germany, and Italy is going to plummet by 20% by 2050. The baby boomers are clocking out, and birth rates are way too low to replace them. The whole economic engine of old Europe is basically grinding to a halt.
Which brings us to Section 1, Politicians' Perfect Illusions and their 4-step master plan.
So, faced with disaster, officials drafted this beautifully naive rescue plan. It's a 4-step model. Step 1, get the young out of school and into jobs earlier. Step 2, keep the older folks trapped in the workforce way longer. Step 3, get more women into the labor market. And Step 4, slash unemployment. They basically want to squeeze every single unused drop of human labor and force it right into the market.
And look, on paper, it works beautifully. Do these 4 things and you completely offset the aging crisis. GDP goes up, living standards stay stable, it looks like an absolute victory. But there is a massive, glaring flaw staring us right in the face. This whole projection completely assumes that regular people will just act like predictable, mindless robots.
But they don't. And that leads us to Section 2, the backlash, where the workers strike back. Enter something researchers call reform backlash. Here's the thing. Workers have a secret weapon. Sure, the government can pass a law dictating how many years you have to stay in the workforce, but they absolutely cannot mandate how many hours you actually work every single day. When squeezed by strict new labor laws, everyday citizens naturally adjust. They figure out subtle ways to protect their own precious leisure time.
It goes exactly like this. You force me to delay my retirement? Fine, I'll just apply for part-time work. I'll clock out early. I'm going to go enjoy a nice afternoon coffee. The researchers noted that in countries like Germany, older workers exploited part-time opportunities so effectively that the total actual hours worked practically went down. The workers brilliantly neutralized the government's grand economic rescue plan.
And the numbers here are completely shocking. This paper found that this quiet behavioral backlash wipes out roughly half of the expected GDP growth. Literally half. Think about that. Politicians pass these massive, super unpopular reforms, they face literal riots in the streets, and 50% of the economic gain just vanishes into thin air because people quietly decide, you know what, I'm going to work fewer hours.
So why does everyone naturally just cut back their hours? Well, because working harder simply doesn't pay out. Europe's traditional pay-as-you-go pension system basically means that any extra effort you put in is heavily taxed just to fund the current retirees. The system is literally built to punish extra work. Slacking off isn't laziness here. Under this setup, it's actually a perfectly rational economic instinct.
So, is there a way out? Let's dive into Section 3, the ultimate cure, and, of course, its flaws. To actually fix this, you have to completely change the incentive structure. On one hand, you have the traditional communal pot, high taxes and heavy backlash. But on the other hand, you have what researchers call the saving model. This is a fully funded private account system. You give workers a selfish, powerful reason to actually clock those extra hours, because suddenly, every extra hour worked goes straight into your own private retirement account. And just like that, the backlash disappears.
It's like night and day. If you only force the labor reforms, workers strike back by dropping to part-time. But if you combine those labor rules with private, individual pensions, the economy absolutely explodes upwards. The behavioral reaction actually strengthens the reform.
When people get to keep what they earn, the economy doesn't just barely survive the demographic collapse. It thrives.
Now, to be perfectly objective here, we do have to look at the blind spots. This is still just an academic model. The researchers admit they had to make some pretty big educated guesses with their data. But more importantly, it totally ignores the messy reality of unpaid home care. If you force all the women into the workforce and you delay the grandparents' retirement, well, who watches the kids? Who takes care of sick relatives? The spreadsheet assumes perfect economic substitution, but real families definitely do not work that way.
Which leaves us with one final, incredibly uncomfortable question to ponder. Can Europe actually survive this aging crisis without treating its citizens like predictable, taxable machines? The data proves it right here. Top-down, heavy-handed mandates just trigger massive backlash. To survive, maybe we don't need stricter rules. Maybe we just need better incentives. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. And hey, always keep questioning the spreadsheets.